Good morning, Spartans. We wanted to talk about some of the calamity days that we've been having as well as future plans. So, jumping right into it, today is our fifth calamity day of the school year. With that being said, as of 24-25 school year, schools had to put a plan in place for after so many calamity days. And for Valley View, that means that calamity days 6, 7, and 8, if we were not to have school, would be online learning days. This is an alternative to adding on additional days to the end of our calendar at some point. So, what that looks like for Valley View, and like I said, today, January 28th, is our fifth day. So, the next 3 days that we were to cancel this school year, whether we reach all three or just one or none, this would be our plan for days 6, 7, and 8. So, our online learning plan, I'm going to start with the schedule that you see here at the bottom of this document that will also be sent out. Students will follow their regular schedule as far as class periods. So you can see that first period is online from 8 to 8:25 with a Google Meet. Several teachers have a Google Classroom. The link to that Google Meet is right in that Google Classroom towards the top left corner, and students would use that to meet with their first period teacher. Second period begins at 8:30, and you can see here the rundown of class periods 1 through 7, with each class being about 25 minutes for those teachers to interact with our students. After that, students have the opportunity to meet with teachers for office hours. So you can see that's a whole hour long. Teachers would be sending out a separate Google Meet that would be accessible to any kid. So students, just make sure you're paying attention to that. For example, if I have Mrs. Bowman's second period and then I want to come back and meet with her during office hours, it wouldn't be that second period Google Meet. It would be a separate one that she is sending me for office hours. So that is what the daily schedule would look like on these online learning days. Going back to some of the basics you can see here at the very top, I just want to point out, talking about attendance. Classroom attendance will be taken. So students, you have to log on to these Google Meets unless you have a study hall or unless you are not in the building during that time. So for our students, our CCP students that maybe come late, leave early, obviously they would not be logging in for that time frame. If a student has a third period study hall, they would not be required to log into that. However, they would need to log into everything else. Here, you're going to see some of the basic expectations we have for students during these Google Meets. One thing I want to point out is, like we talked about attendance, teachers are taking attendance, so you have to log on. We ask that your camera is on so that way teachers and students can interact. If students are not comfortable with anything in the background, there is an option to blur their camera. Please reach out to us, whether it's us or your teacher, and we can show students how to do that. I'm not going to read over all these bullet points as it is something that we are going to send out. I just wanted to kind of hit on some of the basics that students would be required to log on during those times for that classroom session. Attendance would be taken. There would be assignments, and just like a normal school day, somewhat, obviously on an abbreviated schedule. And then the last thing to point out here at the bottom is, please just understand our academic honor policy. This goes for whether we're online or in person, but definitely important as we get into some of this online learning. That is something that we really want to emphasize. Reminder that this is only for days 6, 7, and 8, if we were to get to that point. So like I said, today is January 28th that we're making this video. If we were to cancel the next day, whether that be tomorrow, whether that be a week from now, a month from now, this would be the plan that we use, and we would make sure that is well known going into the day. So students, make sure your Chromebooks are charged. There is a chance that you're going to be needing those shortly. Make sure you're following these guidelines. Make sure you're logging in to meet with all of your classes. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Thank you so much, everybody.